From Atlanta, Georgia, it's At Home with AJ. And now, your host, Anthony S. and Jasmine.
Hey, we are back. We are back.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's
Welcome.
hot Atlanta for real.
103 degrees
Oh, my goodness.
in the shade.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my
It was a
goodness.
scorcher this week. Everybody, welcome to another great edition of At Home with AJ. My name is Anthony S.
And I am Jasmine, and we are
AJ. Yes, we are.
Welcome to our home.
Welcome, everybody.
So, babe,
Oh, man.
I'm ready for some good news.
I'm always ready
What
for
you
good
got?
news. I'm always ready for good news. I've been hearing some things about some musicians out there. All you bass players, this is a bass player good news for you. I don't play bass, but I love bass players. And I'm glad that they're honoring a few bass players that are still living legends. Right? They like to honor folks who have passed on, which is cool. But let's honor some folks that are still living with us.
Yeah.
There's three of the funkiest bass players on the planet right now that they're honoring. And the National R&B Music Society is honoring these three bass players. And their names are Verdine White. You know Verdine White? That's Maurice White's brother from Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Oh, yeah.
Verdine needs to do what do you call it? A video.
What about like
An
how they got
aerobic.
started? or
No.
something?
You know how Verdine jumps around a lot? He needs to do an aerobic type video, because he's jumping around. I've never seen Verdine stand still.
He's got a lot of energy.
A lot of
He's
energy.
a showman. I mean, that's like old school. That's that real showmanship.
A lot of
you
energy,
know?
Verdine. I've never seen him stand. That's why he's so slim.
Yeah. he
Stays that way.
Stays that
Okay.
way.
The second one is, oh man, he played with James Brown way back in the day. Bootsy Collins.
Oh, yeah.
You listen to some of the old James Brown songs back in the day. I'm talking about in the 60s and 70s. You'll hear him saying Boots. Come on.
Yeah,
Bootsy
James
been around.
snatched him, didn't he?
Bootsy been around for a long time.
For his band.
And from, you all remember Graham Central Station, okay? The group Graham Central Station. I'm talking about the one and only Larry Graham,
Harry Graham.
formerly of Sly and the Family Stones.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
He went on his own and started Graham Central Station. Well, these three bass players are right now, well, have, as far as we're concerned, as I'm concerned, the baddest bass players in the world.
Yeah.
All right, so they're honoring these bass players. That's good news, man. It's
Yeah,
about
and
time.
I'm glad they're getting their flowers now.
Yes.
You know,
Not later,
we've,
now.
We've lost so many folks this year,
Yes.
and and everybody's giving them all their accolades, that they should have gotten before they
Shoulda, woulda,
left
coulda.
here. So you guys, congratulations.
Yeah,
No.
they're getting it now. Living legends.
Listen to your music, still listening to your music.
Absolutely.
It's real music. Real
Oh, yeah.
music, babe.
Hey, nothing like real music. Ain't nothing like the real thing.
Ain't nothing like the real.
Don't start now.
Okay, I won't.
Don't start. You're going to get me in there.
I got some shout outs.
You got some shout outs?
I do.
Who you shouting out to?
I am
You should
shouting
give
out.
me a shout out.
Shout out Anthony S.
What's happening?
Shout out to you first.
Okay.
But my second shout out is going out to the artist who did our logo. His name is Mr. Joseph Holman.
Joseph Holman.
And his birthday is July 17th. Joseph, from us to you, we want to say happy birthday. Yeah.
Happy birthday, Joseph. Yes, sir.
Enjoy and, do all the things that you want to do. Just enjoy yourself. Eat too much, drink a little
Well,
too
he
much.
likes to grill a lot.
He's like, I know. He's always throwing steaks on the grill.
And he puts it on Facebook.
He
and
didn't call us, though.
Well, he knows that we're busy.
Is that what it is?
I'll see him later on.
Okay. Okay, my next shout out is going to Stephen Charles. And Stephen is a saxophone player. He's very well known down here in the Atlanta area. And he has a gig every Saturday with, he gigs with two different people. And one is Spencer Bean, and the other is Reggie Ward, fantastic guitar player. Every Saturday at 8:30 p.m. and Sundays from 1:30 p.m. at Crab City Stonecrest Mall in Lithonia. So, you guys, I always say support is what?
Contagious.
Support is contagious. So pass it on. Go out and see these guys, and tell them that AJ sent you.
I've got a shout. Are you done with your shout outs?
I am.
Okay. You sure you got no
Those
more?
two great shout outs.
Well, I got a shout out. This is going to a good buddy of mine. He used to be in his band, a group called the Total Eclipse. I want to shout out to the trumpet player of the Total Eclipse, Keith Macklin, just had a birthday. Happy birthday, Keith.
Happy birthday, Keith.
I know you're doing your thing. I remember back in the day, we were just starting out. And wow, what a ride. So they still riding. They're still doing it.
They're still doing it
Totally.
up there in Jersey.
Up in Jersey, yeah.
I see him all the time, all over Facebook.
Yes. So.
Hey, we're going to be up there, Lord willing, in July of 2017 for my family reunion, and we're gonna look you guys up.
All right.
For sure.
No, they're in Teaneck.
Teaneck.
They're in Teaneck, yeah.
Okay.
They moved there.
It's JT country. JT from is it JT from
Cooley
Gang? Yeah. He's from
They
Teaneck.
moved there about 25 years ago. So, bought McCoy Tyner's home. McCoy Tyner.
Wow.
Pianist. Okay, all you music lovers and piano players, McCoy Tyner. They got his home. It's nice. Beautiful.
That's awesome.
Oh yeah.
So, as I'm looking on my device, we got some Ask AJ questions.
Yeah, we sure do. Let me pull mine up here.
Do you have yours? Do I need to pull mine?
Let me pull it up here. You sent it to me in my email, I know that. So let me pull it up.
I got them here, baby. What you want to do the first question or the second question?
You know what? I read them both.
Okay.
I read them both, and I want to do that first one.
All right.
I want to do the first one. Okay. Yeah. And these questions are for us. So here we go. It says, Dear AJ, this is Paula, and I'm writing to you from Atlanta. Okay, Paula's from out here. Right here in Atlanta. Paula has written a few songs, but she doesn't have the money right now to get her music copywritten. And the bottom line, she's asking, my question to you is, do you think the so-called poor man's copyright will hold up in court? Let's say if she wanted to, poor man means taking your music and putting it into an envelope or whatever and mailing it back to yourself. That's the poor man way. Instead of going the other way of spending money and sending it off to Washington.
Yeah, paying that $65,
paying
$85.
the fee to get it copywritten. But what she's asking, would that stand up in court if she had to go to court for whatever reason?
Yes.
Well, I'm gonna tell you one thing. Yes, it does. I did it and it worked. Okay. It's good.
Just don't open the envelope.
You can't open the envelope.
Right.
That's the whole thing. Once you seal it, what the judge looks at is that stamp. It's the post office mark.
That date.
The post office mark, the post office stamp, is going to legitimize that you were the first one to have this thing copywritten. Okay, that's what they go by. Don't open it yourself. Let them open it. All right. So yeah, if you can't afford to do it, go ahead and do the poor man way. And a lot of folks do it. I don't know if they know that they can't open it. So we're telling you, go ahead and do it. Or if you want to wait and just send it in, to Washington, pay their fees or whatever. But if not, go ahead and do the poor man way, and send your music out that way to yourself. Don't open it. Okay?
Yeah, and there are different. When you go on the site, to check out how to go about doing that. I mean, you can catalog your songs. You can. I don't like that method of taking 10, 20 songs and sending them all together in one catalog.
Right.
Me personally, I like doing them separately.
Yeah.
It's expensive, So
Yeah, because you have to copyright each one.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
But until you get to that point where you can do that, then this is the next best thing.
I had a song that I
think.
did, not mentioning any names, but I did that, and actually it worked.
Yeah.
Yes, it did.
Okay.
It did. I
All
put it in
right.
the envelope, mailed it to myself, and I didn't open it. And I had a situation, and I had to take care of it, and I won.
Cool.
So yeah. But after that, we do write songs. I write songs, but I know that right now I'm going the other route. I'm sending it off to Washington right now, so it's all good. But it's all good.
You can't lose with that.
It's all good. And it's not. It's really not 60-something. It's a little cheaper than that.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's a little cheaper than that.
It was like 60, 85, something
No,
like that.
no, it's a little cheaper than that.
Okay, here's the next question. How we doing, cameraman? All right, I'm going to read real fast. AJ, here is my story. I am about to marry a beautiful woman who has 2 children. She has a boy and a girl. The son is 16 and the daughter is 9. Of course, I don't have a problem with the little lady. She loves me. That's good. It's the son that's giving me problems. There is nothing that I can say to him that doesn't end up in some kind of argument. It's getting to the point where I am honestly thinking about calling off our upcoming wedding. I don't think he will ever like me or respect me. What should I do? I really love their mom, William from Albany.
Wow.
Well, William, you have a problem. I see. The son is 16. I was going to say bribe him. Take him to some ball games.
Buy him a new car.
Car, that's a good one.
That's a good one. Sure.
He'll love you forever.
Okay.
I don't know, Anthony. I don't know what to
How do
say
you
about
handle?
that.
How do you handle? Okay, you are I'm the new beau. Okay, and I've got to, Oh, now I love mom.
And
I love the kids.
I got a big teenage
And
son.
I got a teenage son. He don't like me from the start. He was like, "Oh, here come trouble. Oh, brother, I don't want. He ain't my dad."
He ain't my
okay,
daddy.
so I'm up against all that. You know what I do? I'm gonna have to kind of bribe him. I'm gonna have to get on his good side. Now, how do I get on his good side? Find out the things. I'll talk to him and find out some of the things that he likes. Even if I don't talk to
that's
him,
good.
I'll talk to mom. Like, what does he like? What does he like to do? Where does he like to go? Maybe he likes certain movies. Maybe he likes certain games. So I'm going to try to get these things to him. It's kind of on the bribing side, but that's what you got to do. Okay. And then we'll sit down and say, you know what? Hey, I'm just like you. I was a kid. I used to do the same thing you do. So
Yeah, because you don't want to bribe too much because
Yeah.
you want the respect.
yeah.
But
But you got to get on his good side. You got to find out what
Yeah.
he likes, and then he'll start to like you because he feels that now you and him are relating. So
in some way,
in some kind of way, and hopefully that will turn into something real and tangible.
hopefully,
See,
or else that can be a big mess.
don't let him run you away. You love this woman. You love them. So just stick with it.
Show it, right?
You got to show it.
Just show
Christmas time, boy, you better come with it.
There you go. You still
Birthday
talking about
time.
bribing.
Birthday time, come with it. Come with it. Get them tickets.
Oh my goodness.
That car. He's 16. Give him a little something to ride
Lord
in.
have mercy.
Okay. So hey,
Well, talking about 16 and youth and teenagers and all that. Our next guest, I'm so excited and so happy that he's here. I mean, I'm like ecstatic almost. Anthony?
I'll tell you. The next guest we have is somebody who.
Our next guest, among many of the things that he has done and has accomplished, he has something to do with someone that we both just love, and we know that you do too. And he has a story to tell. And
Well, first I want to read a little bit about him.
yeah, please do that
Just,
he's done
because
so
we've got to lay the
much. Oh,
groundwork
my
before this
gosh.
man comes out. It just wouldn't be fair to just come on out and say, hey, let me just give you a little brief history on this man that's coming out next. Okay, don't want to say his name. Or maybe I do have to say his name.
No.
Okay, well, no, this is a good one. I'm not going to say his name, but this person worked for Warner Brothers for about 20 years, and he started in their warehouse and got promoted to the mailroom.
Don't
But
tell,
2
don't tell
years
us the whole
later-
story now, babe.
Okay, but you know, I'm just gonna give a little bit.
Yeah.
A couple of years later, he started to enter the black music industry. The company loved his energy, tenacity, and loved all types of music. He loved top 40, country, R&B, and all that stuff. Then he moved to Atlanta, and he became, you know, one of the first R&B marketing managers for the Carolinas. Made stopovers in Washington and Burbank and so forth. The man is phenomenal. He actually started the careers of many, many artists. I'll let him talk about that.
Yes, sir.
You know,
and then he went on to start his own business. And like Anthony said, we're going to let him tell us all about that, please.
Yeah, but right now, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Mr. Teddy Astin.
Yes.
Thank you.
Teddy.
Thank you, Anthony.
Teddy.
It's great to be here.
Man, it's a pleasure.
Jasmine,
It is a pleasure.
thank you for having me.
It is a pleasure.
All right, and
I gotta go. I gotta do this. I gotta do this.
I know.
I gotta do this.
I must do that. I
And
must.
on camera, you see, I'm doing this. Wait till you hear what this man, who this man is. Take have a
You
seat.
know we're excited, right?
Well, thank you. I don't think you guys are
Oh my
no more excited than I am.
goodness.
It's such a pleasure to be here. I watch all of your videos on YouTube.
You watched them all?
Every one of them. I think I watched about 30 so far. Did I miss any?
You got them all.
That's it.
All right.
Yeah, unless we
then.
got some more.
You're,
We don't know
you're
about 30.
31.
I'm 31. I feel like I'm
my
31.
gosh.
But
You
it's.
look like you're 31.
Well, thank you. Well, it's great to be here, Anthony. And you were mentioning earlier about some of the bases that was being honored. Fortunately, I worked with Larry Graham, with Graham Central Station, who was an artist on Warner Brothers Records. Also, he was a member of Sly and the Family Stone, which I worked with Sly as well.
Of
Oh,
course.
man.
Along with that, we worked with Bootsy Collins, Bootsy's Rubber Band. George Clinton introduced Bootsy to Warner Brothers Records. He introduced Warner Brothers to the funk. So Bootsy was one of our first funk artists to sign with the label.
I remember Bootsy Rubber Band. Now, I'm from New York.
Yes.
I'm a New Yorker.
Okay.
Bootsy Rubber Band opened, I'm sorry, they were the headliners, but Frankie Beverly opened for them at the Garden.
Really?
Oh,
That
really?
show.
When Frankie first started?
Beverly.
Oh, my God.
I never heard of Frankie Beverly and Maze. And
Yeah.
they was this band. They opened up. It was 2 acts. It was Frankie.
Wow.
And Bootsy was the headliner. You should see the speakers up to the ceiling. Okay? This was in the 70s now. The band, Frankie Beverly, never heard of him. Never heard of Frankie Beverly.
Yeah.
But Frankie did a good job.
Yeah,
Did
absolutely.
a good job. And I never forget him. I never heard of such a smooth rhythm section.
Right.
Smooth rhythm section. You know how
Still
smooth
doing
they are.
it
They
today,
still-
right?
And
I
I,
see Bootsy Rubber Band, and boy, they good.
yeah, and we worked with Frankie Beverly and Maze as well.
I was
so.
getting ready to say, did you,
Yeah.
I mean, you're giving me goosebumps over here.
Yeah. Well, if you go to my Facebook page,
Mm-hmm.
which is Teddy Astin, I'm sorry, it's Facebook/Teddy Astin, ASTIN, and you'll see a list of artists that we worked with over the years. I was fortunate enough to be working with a company like Warner Brothers. And again, like you mentioned earlier, Anthony, I'm proud of my background because I started in the warehouse. Very proud of that.
Yeah, how did
Yeah.
you, please,
Yeah,
just tell us a little bit, how did all of that happen? And
Well, a friend of mine named Charles Gear was working for Atlantic Records, which was a sister company of Warner Brothers. It was Warner Electric Atlantic. It was called W for Warner, E for Electric, A for Atlantic. So Charles was working for Atlantic Records, and the companies was growing, and I needed a job. So he was able to get me a job in the warehouse, and it was a very fulfilling job because when you have an opportunity to work for 3 giant record labels like that, and you're in this warehouse, you're responsible for pulling and filling orders for record stores as well as music distributors around the country. So in that environment, I was able to see titles of 100,000 artists.
yeah,
And my goal was to learn every artist, every format, what kind of music they saying who was their audience. So it was a great experience,
So
you know.
went in, you knew what you wanted to do. You used that as like a learning.
Yeah, well,
tool.
I've always had the attitude is it doesn't matter if I'm in the warehouse, I'm going to be the best person there. Okay, so
That's a good word.
and that I never missed a day at work. Always worked overtime. Whatever that was asking me, I did it. So from there, a year later, I was promoted to the mailroom. So the mailroom, that was like a big deal, you know, because being in the mailroom, yeah, you're responsible for making sure that each radio station get the music for their format, whether it was country, whether it was rock and roll, whether it was R&B, whether it was adult contemporary. My responsibility was to make sure that every radio station got whatever music they needed for their radio station across the country. So that was a great learning experience as well, because not only did I have to determine what radio station got what music, but I had to listen to it to determine. You know, so
you really started from the bottom.
Yeah.
And came on up.
Didn't that make you feel important because you were doing something that made a difference?
Absolutely,
And
because
you took a lot of pride in your work too.
right, but because basically if you had a country and western station and I didn't mail you those records for your format, and the other stations in your market was able to get those records, then it's so competitive. You don't want a radio station to have a record that you don't have,
Right.
especially if it's your format. You know, you don't want to get beat at that. So that was a big responsibility. So I got a lot of accolades from radio stations and program directors of all formats. You know, now we're finally getting our music. Now you guys finally got it right. Thank you so much. So basically, I just kind of categorized mailing labels and printing for each radio station just to make it easy so you wouldn't have to guess. So if we had a country and western record come out, then we got 150 country and western labels already printed up. You know, it didn't sound like a big deal, but it's getting it organized.
So you came up with that?
Yeah, I came up with that concept to
good.
categorize and print labels for every format. Therefore, once the record came in, I could get it in and out the same day.
Okay.
So, you know, so from that point, Warner Brothers was really in the process of expanding their black music department. And two markets that was opening up, one was Miami and one was North Carolina. The vice president of promotion had heard about me for a couple of years, and people in the distributor was telling them about my work ethic, my taste for music, how I was very determined to move forward, but not at the same time overbearing. So I was able to be in the right place at the right time. They asked me, they said, Teddy, we got two positions open for two markets, Miami and Charlotte, North Carolina. Which one would you rather go to? I said, well, I'm thinking, well, I think I'd rather go to Miami. You know, and they said, okay, then we're going to send. They said, okay, we're going to send you to Charlotte, North Carolina.
Oh.
Yeah, they was really looking out after me because they felt like North Carolina would be a better starting place for me to grow, opposed to Miami. You know, going down there. Yeah. So they said, hey, you want to go to Miami? Great.
They're going to send you where you like.
Where I thought I wanted to go.
Where that you can make the best impact.
Absolutely.
No, we would have had too much fun in Miami.
Yeah, too many
that's
distractions.
What he wanted to go.
But he wouldn't have got the work done.
That's what.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
As much, I mean, he would have got it, but you know, as much work done.
Well, I put it like this. Working in the Carolinas became a breakout market for music. And I was responsible for that because, so when you're in a market and you want to test records, you may not have the budget to market that record across the country. So opposed to saying we're going to spend $50,000 to find out what this record, if we have a record, it's best maybe at that point back in the mid-70s and the 80s to say, let's go to the Carolinas, let's see what kind of reaction he can get for this record. Let's spend $10,000 on the record opposed to $50,000. And if this makes sense and the record starts to break, then we know we can spread the record across the country.
That's smart.
Yeah, so that's what we did. My first artist that I worked in the Carolina was Candace Staten. She was new to the label. Young Hearts Run Free. From there came Prince, Larry Graham, Ashford and Simpson, Morris Day and the Times, Sheila E., David Sanborn, Miles Davis, Al Jarreau,
Miles,
Bootsy Collins,
gosh.
and just we were a very young, aggressive music team, and all of the artists that I mentioned, we never signed any superstars. Everybody we built from the ground. So you didn't have to go out and compete with other labels, and that artist is over there and they sold gold, and this one did platinum. So when their contract is up, let's see if we can get them over here. No, we didn't do that.
They weren't superstars then,
Right.
when you signed them.
Right. Our artists were not. Well, no. My point was we didn't go to other labels and try to compete for their artists that they've already created, that had established gold and platinum status.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so the artist that we signed to the label was nobody at the time. Nobody ever knew him. So we were able to build them from the ground up.
Now we have to ask you about Prince.
Okay, well, Prince is one of my favorite artists. Again, that record broke in the Carolinas when I was there. In fact, there's
Which
again,
record?
Soft and Wet.
Soft and Wet.
That was the first record.
Yep.
That was the first hit, Soft and Wet. Then from that, Why You Want to Treat Me So Bad. But basically, when we signed Prince, it was really like breaking new ground. He was basically, when Prince brought the record to Warner Brothers, he was 16 years old. He produced it, he wrote it,
That was
played every instrument on the album.
That was my question. Did he actually walk into Warner? Did you?
How did you find out about
How did
him?
you actually find out about him or to meet him?
Well, we had a representative in Indianapolis who told the company in Burbank about Prince. So they sent a delegation to Indianapolis to see him and review him, and just to see what all the hoopla was about this kid. So they signed him to the label. They gave him carte blanche. You're only 16. This is unheard of to give an artist this type of autonomy. You're writing all the songs. You're playing all the instruments. You're producing the album. So, come to take a big chance. Other labels were competing for him.
16, was he considered still was he a minor at 16, or y'all overlooked that?
There's certain guidelines and stipulations, but what was more important was to make sure that he was given the opportunity to express his musical genius, what a genius he was musically. At 16, I'm not sure about all the legal aspects of it at that age, but when he wrote the album, he was 16. By the time it came out, he turned 17, 18. So he was a young man,
He was
still a young man.
He wrote, arranged, and
Played all the instruments. Well, other labels
Did
were
his parents get involved at all in this? Like,
very
was he-
little.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
Yeah.
but that's why I asked that question. Just being so young, was his parents involved?
Because he was pretty much on his own.
Yeah, he was pretty much on his own at that point.
So he,
So other labels was competing for Prince, but they wanted to put him with another producer. And we were giving him the autonomy to produce his own records. So that's what swayed
why he
him
stayed.
to Warner Brothers.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Because that was his whole big thing, right?
Absolutely. And from Prince, once he was established, after his second album went gold and platinum, then they kind of gave him carte blanche. Companies like, what else you got?
I guess so, right?
Well,
when he hit the airwaves, it was. I remember,
absolutely.
that first song.
Soft and Wet, Why You Want to Treat Me So Bad.
I was like, what is this?
Yeah. And the other thing about it that he liked, that we didn't censor his music. Because a lot of his music was very sensitive, questionable lyrics. But we gave him carte blanche. And not only with Prince, but we never censored our artists or tell them what they could do or what they couldn't do.
And they were like that across the board with everybody.
Everybody.
Because back in those
Yeah.
days, things were much different than they are now.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You couldn't say this, you couldn't do that.
Right.
But you guys were
Yeah, we just
I
kind
guess
of
took a chance to say, hey, you know what? This world,
let's do it.
you
What?
know, let's just see what happens.
Yeah, not only that, right after Prince, from Prince, opened the door for March Day and the Time, Sheila E., Vanity Six, Apollonia.
Yeah.
So it opened the door for those artists. But also on the same wavelength of Prince came Madonna, who was very controversial.
Right.
After Madonna came Ice-T,
Right.
who was very controversial.
And they were all on Warner Brothers too?
Yes.
I
Yes.
did not know Madonna was on.
Yeah, Madonna she's on Sire Records,
Okay.
which is a custom label of Warner Brothers,
Okay.
promoted and distributed through the label. So was Ice-T.
I was reading your resume, which is like who's who, and when you guys crossed over,
Hmm.
you started dealing with Madonna,
Right. Rod Stewart.
Stewart,
Yeah, Michael McDonald,
McDonald's. Oh wow,
Fleetwood Mac.
Fleetwood Mac,
Mac,
Leo
yeah,
Sayer.
Sayers.
Yeah.
That must have been
How did you deal with being around all these different artists, all these different
Al Jarreau.
characters and mindsets?
Al Jarreau, just
Al
himself.
Jarreau, crossing from jazz to R&B.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, basically, it was a job. I didn't really look at it as these are superstars. I looked at it. I took a lot of pride in my work, and I wanted to make sure that each artist got 100% of me, of everything that I can do to promote it, to market it, to set up interviews, and so on. So it was, when you kind of look back on it, it kind of feels like that. But during that 20-year career with Warner Brothers, you just kind of give it your all.
Although they weren't superstars at the time,
Right.
but they had superstar status.
They had superstar potential.
Potential,
Right.
Because they were good. At what
Absolutely,
they did.
absolutely.
They did right. Al Jarreau was phenomenal.
Oh, yeah.
Jazz artist, and I remember back in the day that Al was having a little bit of trouble trying to get his music because he was a jazz artist and trying to go R&B. A lot of people couldn't get with it.
They didn't
He
want
even-
him to leave jazz.
He even mentioned
Yeah.
on some shows I've seen him on that they're having a hard time understanding my music.
Hmm.
But
Well,
they got it now.
Yeah, well, Al Jarreau broke big in Europe first before he broke big in the United States. And it took a great team like the Warner Brothers team to cross him over because it wasn't easy,
that's what it was.
But he kind of changed his style a little bit to become a little bit more commercial,
Okay.
R&B commercially.
Because
So
was he going through the jazz thing back then too?
yeah, he was
where
kind of going through a
everybody's
transition.
Not getting the jazz thing.
Yeah, he was kind of going through a transition, but he never left his jazz base. He did enough R&B to cross over,
Right.
but never left his jazz base.
So I know this. You traveled a lot with this. Where are some of the places this business took you?
Well, I think I should look at it as where it didn't take me. All over the United States, there's probably only a couple of states that I haven't traveled to my knowledge. Probably Montana. I don't think I've ever been to Utah. I can't think of any other states that I didn't travel to. But whether it was business or pleasure, Europe, of course, all the Caribbean islands, where's just kind of, and I love, there's a lot of great places in the States that I love, Even though I didn't get to work in Miami initially, I love South Beach, Miami,
It's a fun time.
I've never
Right.
been there.
But as my career continued to develop as a local promotion manager for Warner Brothers, I went on to become the regional promotion manager for Warner Brothers, as well as the national promotion manager for Warner Brothers. So basically my territory wasn't just Charlotte or the Southeast, it was a national territory that I was responsible for.
Now, I know that there was many a time where you went to the shows. You got to see Al. You got to
Oh
see
yeah,
Prince.
absolutely.
You know,
Miles Davis, baby.
Miles,
Yeah.
you was with Miles. You handled him. Fleetwood. I mean, you got to see those shows.
Absolutely.
You know,
Well, the biggest show that I've ever seen in my life was Prince doing the Purple Rain
There
tour.
you go. There you
It was
go.
raining Purple Rain all over the world.
That's my favorite.
Purple Rain
song.
soundtrack, Purple Rain movie, Purple Rain tour.
what was it like preparing for that film?
Ooh, I'm getting goosebumps.
The film
again.
itself,
Oh my
right
gosh.
now, it's
Being reshown in theaters all over,
Everywhere.
all
I've
over the
seen it-
world.
I've seen it 3 times when it first came out. In the
Yeah.
80s. But right now, it's like it's the biggest thing.
Absolutely.
Again,
I hate to ask you this, but how did it affect you, when you found out that he
Well,
was
it
gone?
was a tremendous loss because basically with Prince, I took him on his first promotional tour.
Right.
Again, on my Facebook page, you'll see the first picture in the music industry that he ever took.
yeah, we saw that.
Yeah.
When he was signing those
another guy.
papers.
Right. Well, yeah, he was
He was
signing
signing-
autographs.
Oh, he was signing. Oh, okay.
Right,
I thought
he
he
was
was
signing-
signing his contract.
No, he was signing autographs. I had him to come into Charlotte to do a promotional tour along with a Thanksgiving food drive.
Okay.
And that was his first appearance in the public.
There was
So
another gentleman that was standing with
yeah,
him and somebody else.
Pepe Willie, that was his first manager.
Okay.
Right, Pepe Willie. In fact, and of course, again, that was the tour, the soundtrack. In fact, when the Purple Rain tour came to Atlanta, the tour was here for 6 nights straight, sold out every show, and it was really phenomenal. But to go back to your question, how did it affect me when he passed? Very dramatically, really, because his last show was here in
Here in
Atlanta.
Atlanta.
I was
Isn't that
just gonna
something?
say, you're talking about on his first tour, he came to Atlanta.
No, on his first promotional tour,
for
I was in
promotion
Charlotte,
tour. Okay.
and that's where his first promotional tour took place in Charlotte,
The
North
Purple
Carolina.
Rain tour came here to Atlanta.
Right.
Oh.
But the Purple Rain tour, that was a national tour. But just the highlight of the tour was here in Atlanta. They played here 6 nights. Other cities, they played 2 nights, 3 nights. But here, he had such a following. And so many records here. He could have stayed here another 6 nights and played.
Did you see him at the Fox?
No, I didn't see him at the Fox.
That was his last show.
Yeah.
His very last show.
In hindsight, I've seen Prince so many times, you know.
Right, right.
So I didn't think it was a big deal not to see him
Yeah.
that time.
Didn't
You
think
know.
it was going to be the last.
Yeah,
That
absolutely.
is awesome.
But
Oh,
no, I've seen. I didn't see him live that night, but I've seen the concert that was taped video that night. Yeah.
So a co-worker of mine, the person she went with, her friend, videotaped his show. She
Yeah.
wasn't supposed to,
Right.
and she did. She got a clip, and I think that's the clip that's been going around. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Somebody had got a hold of it, but she had got a good amount of it, of him on stage with the piano.
Right. Well, there's with the technology that you have today, with cell
The
phones,
phones and
iPhones.
everything.
Used to you go to a concert, don't take no pictures, no live recording, but you can't stop it now.
You can't stop everybody.
Right. You just
You just
hold
take
your
it
phone,
out.
hold your iPhone up,
That's it.
Right.
and just video. Everybody's got a camera now. So
I want to ask you. I want to get for Prince just for a minute. I've been, it was probably will be. I was a big fan of Madonna. When she first
too.
hit, when Madonna first hit, she changed the landscape, especially for women in the industry. When it came to fashion,
Right.
number one. When it came to just speaking your mind or singing what you felt like you should sing, expressing herself.
trends
Madonna-
in music,
Madonna did it.
absolutely. When Madonna came after Prince laid that foundation
And
for artists to express themselves.
She came after Prince.
Right.
And it was kind of like shock, like shock jock, like shock.
Oh,
radio.
absolutely.
She shocked a lot of people, but you know what? She was the one who actually said it was okay. It's
Absolutely.
okay to wear certain things.
Right.
Okay, because Madonna, well, she's from Manhattan, I think.
Alphabet City.
Alphabet City.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
she used to hang out in the clubs, whatever,
Right.
whatever.
Right, absolutely. Well, Madonna, you know, have always had a lot of black friends. She was part of the Allen Ailey dance troupe.
Now that I did not
Evidently.
know.
Yes. Also,
What?
she was good friend with Nile Rodgers of Chic. So she's always had that soul lady, blew out soul girl image. So that's one of the reasons that she was able to cross over. That's one of the reasons she didn't sound too pop. You know, that's why her voice had a great balance there. You know, especially on records like Holiday, Papa Don't Preach.
Those are some great videos too.
Yeah. So,
But Alvin Elliott, was she the only
Alvin
white dancer?
to my knowledge, I think she was. Yeah.
Because
I
I didn't
never
know
knew that.
Well, you know,
Yeah.
she dances very well.
yeah.
Oh, she danced right.
She
She
choreographs, you know, I don't know if she does
Absolutely.
all the choreographing, but in her video, she did a lot
Oh,
of dancing.
absolutely. And a lot of that came from
my God.
that background of being with black artists and having a dance troupe, you know, and
Wow.
hanging out with Chic during their
A good friend of
prime
mine,
years.
Lucy Martin's a good friend of mine.
Yeah.
You know Lucy.
Yeah.
From Chic.
Wow.
Wow.
Lucy's out of
Absolutely.
Queens. She used to be a cocktail waitress
Right.
back in Queens, back in the day,
She come a long way.
in a club called Casablanca on Jamaica Avenue.
Wow.
And she used to be our cocktail waitress. We used to go there, and she said, I'm in a group now. And I said, what group? She said, we don't have a name yet.
Mm-hmm.
About a month later, she says, I heard a song called Yowza Yowza Yowza.
Yeah, Chic.
And she said, Anthony, you heard a record called Yowza Yowza Yowza? I said, yeah. She said, I'm in that group. I'm in Chic.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
You're in that group.
You're in that group?
And they
They didn't have a name yet. They was just, talking
Yeah.
about a name, and then they came up with this Chic.
yeah.
So
And
nonchalant.
I said, you're in that group? That's where you was going to rehearsal? She said, yeah, I'm in that group.
Another one of my good friends was in that group too. Her name is Norma Jean Wright. We did the lead singing for most
that
of
name?
those songs.
And
Norma
she?
Jean, Norma
Okay.
Jean Wright.
Well, there's two girls. Is that the
Yes, Norma Jean was the
Oh,
second
Chic
one.
and Lucy.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah, but also as the label continued to grow, from R&B to jazz, then we were able to establish ourselves as a rap label as well.
Oh,
So-
that's how you moved
so-
into the hip
Yeah,
hop.
you
era.
gotta-
I read you had
you
some
know-
hip hop artists.
Right, you start from the R&B, you build your base, you start crossing over the artists that you have. Then when hip hop became so popular, we teamed up with a record label called Cold Chillin'. And Cold Chillin' already had their street artists already established. Big Daddy Kane, Biz Marquee,
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah, I read
yes, Marley Marl.
that. Molly Marr.
And those artists kind of gave us that hip hop foundation, and of course we already had Ice-T. So basically, if you're going to be a full-fledged record label, you got to be well-rounded. Now that was just on the R&B side. Of course, on the pop side, the country side, we even had an alternative side to music. So
What
Warner
about
Brothers.
international? Did you do anything, different languages?
No, well, basically, we operated here in the States, but at the same time, there's a international label, had a record label department in Europe, Germany, all over
But
all over the
did-
country.
They
Oh, wait
did
a
that.
minute.
They did it over
Right.
I have a
Absolutely.
silly. I hope this is not a silly question.
Nothing silly.
there. Nothing silly.
silly.
Ask the question.
Warner Brothers. Anthony, you brought this up to me.
Now see, now it's gonna be my fault. See, she asked the question, but
Wait.
it's my fault.
Is
Okay,
this
go
the
ahead.
same Warner Brothers with the cartoons?
Yes.
It is.
Looney
See?
Tunes.
We was talking about that the other day. The
lo-
WB.
Bugs Bunny,
Bugs
Daffy
in the
Duck,
gang. Yes.
Elmer Fudd, Roadrunner.
Wow.
Right, so Warner Brothers got so many different divisions. That's the cartoon division. But we're here in the music division. But also during that time, Warner's was involved in sports. Part owners of the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Oh.
They
know
also
that.
got into the multimedia. They bought CNN from Ted Turner,
Wow.
which at some point CNN, Ted Turner owned the Braves and the Hawks. So at one point, Warner Brothers also owned the Atlanta Braves, the Atlanta Hawks, as well as CNN.
Is that like still today?
No, they kind of broke it up, but that was part of the big conglomerate, global empire.
No, think about it.
TNT. Yeah.
Warner Brothers. Were there three brothers?
That's a good question. I'm sure it was more than one.
I'm going back.
Well, Jack Warner was the main brother.
I know there was at least two.
Right.
I'm just wondering, was it three brothers?
Could have been.
Could have been three.
That's a good question.
Warner Brothers.
Nobody.
I don't know.
Yeah.
No
I
one has
think
ever
there was-
asked me that.
I think
so
there was three. I could be wrong, but I know there was at least two brothers.
yeah.
They were Jack Warner and somebody.
Right.
I forgot his other
In
name.
fact, I don't know if you ever heard of a record label called Reprise.
Yes, I have.
Yes.
Okay, well, Reprise was also a custom label of Warner Brothers.
It was a jazz label, right?
No,
Reprise
it
Records?
was Frank Sinatra,
Oh.
Sammy Davis Jr., Dean Martin, that crew called the Rat
Rat
Pack.
Pack.
The Rat Pack.
Right, Frank Sinatra owned Reprise. So when on the way to Reprise Rising, the chairman of the board was Frank Sinatra's manager, and he ran Reprise. So when Reprise came to Warner, Warner consolidated with Reprise, and Mo Alston became the chairman of Warner and Reprise.
Wow.
Any relation? What, in Austin? You said
No,
Austin.
no, his name was Austin.
Oh,
O
Austin.
Ostin.
Oh, okay.
And my name is Astin, Astin. And some people used to ask me, was he my father?
Really? They couldn't get together.
Yeah, so
either,
sometimes
right?
when it worked, I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. Just say
But
that.
yeah, so
And
but
speaking of that, we didn't ask you. Where are you from, and do you have any siblings in the business and children?
no, I'm from Atlanta. I'm a native of Atlanta. I'm a Grady baby,
Hey.
born and raised here.
Shout out to Grady. You remember this guy?
And basically, no siblings in the industry. Everybody just kind of into different careers.
How
So,
many siblings do you have?
well, I have 4 brothers and 5 sisters.
Whoa! You have a big
Small family.
Anybody of them in the business?
No.
No,
Some
he
sort.
said
Nobody.
they're
No,
all-
everybody's just doing something different.
But I bet they got to see a lot of shows.
Oh, they sure did.
I know they were glad.
yeah,
Boy, my
man.
brother got the hookup.
Got the hookup.
Brother got the hookup. We're gonna see so and so tonight. Yeah, front row,
Absolutely.
backstage.
Oh, they saw a lot of shows, that's
Oh,
for sure.
man.
I'm sure. And I have one more question to ask you. It's a Prince question. Paisley Park.
Okay.
You been there?
Oh, it's several times.
What is that
Several
like?
times.
What was that like in there?
It's just a big, mega complex. So Prince would, every other year, he would ask us to invite our guests there.
Oh, wow.
Program directors, music directors, retailers, radio consultants. He would, tell us to put together a guest list.
I wish I
And-
had known you did.
Man, we could have been there. That's
And
okay.
we would all go to Paisley Park, Minneapolis, Minnesota for a weekend and kind of hang out. Sometimes you would see Prince and sometimes you wouldn't.
Yeah.
All you know is you're his guest. He might show up and he might not.
That little,
You know,
little
but-
building on the back. What was?
It's like a
'Cause you
round.
had-
But yeah, that was
Big one.
part of his home. Kind
Okay.
of like, at one point it kind of consolidated the home, the studio, the Paisley Park all together.
I know. I can tell that the big parts of the building look like the warehouse. Really big square parts of the building. You probably did a lot of videos there.
Right.
'Cause he
Well,
did
he
his own
didn't.
production.
Right. He didn't have to go anywhere to do
Right.
anything.
Right.
Oh, yeah, he said that.
Everything is
Everything's
right
I
there.
do my own videos.
Everything. Not only do my own videos, I'm doing my own music.
Music. Yeah.
I'm writing my own songs. I'm recording everything right here. If I want to do a video, I got my sound stage here. So didn't have to go anywhere to do anything. So
Oh my gosh! Now, we've talked your head off about the music industry, and there's so much you can tell
Right.
us. But we also know that you have started another business,
right.
your own business, and we want you to tell us about that.
Well, basically, right now I'm in the real estate industry. I'm not buying houses and not selling houses. We're in the business of helping people keep their homes. The name of the company is TLA Real Estate Consulting. We specialize in loan modifications, foreclosure prevention, and credit restoration. Basically, just say for instance, my wife used to be a real estate broker. And at some point, we used to have investors coming in, buying 10, 15, 20 houses at a time. And at some point, the bottom started falling out of the real estate industry. So as fast as they bought homes, they were losing homes. So I had to, I felt obligated to say, if we were able to help them obtain those homes, purchase those homes, got to be able to find out a way for them to keep their homes. So that's when the loan modification was a really big secret at the time. So knowing all the people that I knew in the mortgage industry was able to give me the ability to crack the code for loan modification. So we do loan modifications in all 50 states. And primarily, people have to remember, if your income changes, so should your mortgage payments. So meaning that if you was making $100,000 a year when you bought your home, for some reason, or if you had two incomes in the family and those two incomes have been reduced to one, you had a change of income. So if your income changes, so should your mortgage payments. So, but a lot of people don't know that, and they're losing their home and not knowing the criteria that it takes to get their loans modified based on their current income and not the income they were making when they purchased their home. Some of the criteria for a loan modification is two incomes reduced to one. We work with a lot of senior citizens who were working full-time when they purchased their home. Now they're retired or semi-retired. That income changed. I just say at one point there was the husband and the wife bought the house together. Now the wife is working and the husband is not. Or the husband is working and the wife is not. That's two incomes reduced to one. So it's going to be hard to maintain that same lifestyle without those two incomes. So your mortgage payments can be adjusted to your current income. Other people that we're working with have these balloon payments that's coming up. Just say in 6-8 months, you got a balloon payment due for the balance of your mortgage. A lot of times when they sign those contracts, they didn't know what it meant.
Yeah, they're so happy.
Just so happy.
Those papers,
all of a sudden, they get a balloon invoice in the mail saying you're $100,000 on your mortgage in 90 days. The balance is due. Other people we're working with have adjustable rate mortgages. And a lot of people that we're working with, they got predatory loans. They were taking advantage of just because they didn't know any better. Some of the mortgage companies took advantage of the homeowners when they should have got decent interest rates, and they got the predatory interest rates. So we're able to make those adjustments there.
Those mortgage companies knew that they didn't know, so they're going to prey on that.
Absolutely.
Of course.
And the other thing that we work with is credit restoration, because a lot of people that we work with on the loan modification side, the credit is kind of taking a dip. So we're able to help them get their credit restored, and not only help them get their credit restored, but people that want to buy a house, that the credit score won't allow them. The credit score won't allow them to purchase a house, or they want to refinance their existing debt. Just say for instance, if they had a foreclosure on their credit report, it's eliminated. If they had an eviction, it's eliminated. If they had a repossession, it's eliminated.
You help them with that?
Yes.
Get rid of that. And you said you can do this in all 50 states?
Yes.
Wow.
If they had repossessions, it's eliminated. If they had inquiries on their credit report, it's eliminated. A lot of things we're finding out on people's credit report is that some of the things should have been eliminated years ago. It's still sitting there.
Wow.
Other things on people's credit report are there illegally. It's still sitting there. So we're able to just to kind of liens, judgments, we're able to get all of those things removed.
Well.
Yeah, and usually within 3 to 4 months. However, we keep you in the program for a year because we're finding out a lot of times when we finally get that credit score back up to where it should be, then something else pops up. So therefore, we keep them in there for a year. So basically, just to say, if a person was trying to buy a house today, the credit score was 550, didn't allow them to qualify for a loan. When they come to us, we pull a credit report from all 3 credit agencies and see what needs to be eliminated or disputed. And within 3 to 4 months, all of those things are removed, including bankruptcies.
Wow.
Because bankruptcies usually stay on people's credit report for 8 to 10 years.
Forever.
We can get bankruptcies removed within 3 or 4 months. So, yeah. So, that's
But-
my life.
So, I know it's a lot of people out there that
But
can
need you.
use that kind of
Sure.
help. Oh yeah. Tell us again how to get in touch with you if someone wants to talk to you about a situation.
Okay. Sure, they can reach me at 888-611-1108. That's 888-611-1108. One last time, our phone number here at TLA Real Estate Consulting, where we specialize in loan modification, foreclosure prevention, and credit restoration, is 888-611-1108.
Is there a website
Wow.
that they can
Oh
go to?
yeah.
Yes, our website is tlarealestate.net. That's TLAREALESTATE.net. tlarealestate.net. Just the way it sounds.
Hmm. And you're also on Facebook.
Yes, you can reach us on Facebook. Go to Facebook/Teddy, TEDDY, Astin, ASTIN. You'll be able to see my Facebook page there with all the artists that we work with throughout the years. Also, there's a link to TLA's page there where you can see all the criteria for the loan modifications as well as credit restoration there as well.
Well, you are a walking wealth of information.
Thank you very much.
I mean, in all aspects. I mean, because we're into music, you know.
Right.
Yeah,
That-
we're artists
that's,
ourselves,
that's a
so-
big part of us. So,
Right.
Yeah.
And music is still my first love, no matter what I do. Music is still my first love. So, from time to time, I have an artist to call me for advice or consulting. I have artist managers calling for consulting. Also, from time to time, we have record labels calling for consulting as well.
I got a real quick question. Starting from the bottom up, and you did learn a lot. I mean, you learned a lot. You got yourself from here to there. Have you ever thought at one time that you wanted to go independent and do your own label?
Well, basically, the industry's changed so much, and to be able to, you know what? If there's kind of no yes and no answer to it. Starting your own label, one of the issues starting your own label is that most of the artists these days that you want to work with, they don't necessarily have the resources to get the job done.
Okay.
You know, most of the artists that you're looking at today are basically not in a position to be able to record, promote, press their own CDs, because you got to be able to do that to make an impact out here, because record labels are not, you can't go on a record label's door and knock on the door and say, here's my tape. That ain't happening. So what you got to be able to do is establish yourself, and the record label will come and find you. And I've always found out my best asset is to be able to work from the background, you know. At the same time, from time to time, I'll step out there, manage an artist or work with an artist. But on the other hand, in terms of having an independent label, you gotta have the muscle behind you. You gotta have the promotion behind you. You gotta have the marketing behind you. You gotta have the distribution behind you.
So it's really, I know we boy, I wish I could just
I
keep
asked
you
that,
here for
I
like
asked that
2
question
more
because I
hours,
wanted to
but-
hear all of those answers.
Yeah.
You
But
know.
it's not like it was back in the day, you know, that machine that used
Right.
to teach you how to walk and talk and all that. And you didn't care about how it got pressed or
Right.
how it got distributed.
You didn't have to worry about
None
that.
of that.
The label took care of all of that for
Right.
you.
It's so different
But it's so
now.
different these days,
Oh
you know.
my gosh.
You know, that's why I usually, when an artist calls me, I kind of go through a series of questions as well as see what kind of music they have. But it's different when a manager calls me, because they already have the artist under contract.
Yeah.
And basically they're asking for help because they already have the budget for the
Okay.
resources. Also, when a record label calls me, you never have to worry about getting paid. And of course, when they ask you to do something, asking for your advice, asking you to consult them on a certain project, you can really kind of, depending on the urgency of it, you can really kind of take your time and evaluate the situation, who they're really inquiring about, what artist is it? Is it male? Is it female? Is it hip hop? Is it R&B? What's their visuals like? What's their temperament like? Let's just kind of sit them down and talk to them. Put them in front of a camera. Let me get one of my radio program directors to interview them and see how they come across. You know what I mean?
Yep.
There's so many questions I want to ask you.
So you gotta kind of. Every situation is different.
Yeah.
So every situation has to be customized and personalized based on who you're evaluating.
And on that note, we're gonna have to.
I know. Oh,
We're gonna have to wrap this up. The clock on the wall is saying we've got to go.
yes.
Mr. Astin, it has been unbelievable. I still can't believe that we've read a lot about you. We've seen, we heard about you and read about you and looked at you, and it's just amazing to have you here. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, Anthony.
We are humble.
I'm humble.
Very much.
Thank you, Jasmine. We appreciate it. Thank you for the invitation. We do appreciate it.
Will you come back?
Of course.
Oh, you see, you heard that. He said he'll be back.
We're going to call him back when he has time.
Part 2.
Well, everybody, this has been another segment of At Home with AJ, where vision
and reality come together.
Say good night.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Squeeze that left.